It's been 6 years since this camera took the world by storm. The Sony a6400 quickly became the most popular camera of its time, but does it still stand up to the ever-advancing cameras of 2024? Honestly, if you were to look at only the specs of this camera, you wouldn't realize that it actually came out in 2019. It has a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor and it shoots 14-bit RAW images at 11 frames per second with a 43 RAW image buffer. It can shoot 4K video up to 30 FPS and 1080p video up to 60 and 120 FPS, both with a 40-minute recording buffer. This camera also has a weather seal, a flip-up screen, and incredible autofocus with face and eye detection. If you want to see all of these amazing features at work, stay tuned to the end of the video to actually see a test footage edit as well as some photos. Of course, since this camera is older, it doesn't have some of the fanciest features that you see nowadays. For instance, this camera can only shoot in 8-bit color when you're recording video, which doesn't really combine well with the incredible flat profiles that this camera has to offer. There is also no in-body image stabilization, and this camera also eats through batteries. Plus, this camera might have some of the worst rolling shutter I've ever seen. Now, what is rolling shutter exactly? Rolling shutter is a type of image distortion that happens when the motion of a subject or the camera is too fast for the camera's sensor to capture. This happens because most camera sensors don't actually read out their full sensor at once. They'll read it out line by line, top to bottom, which makes fast-moving objects change shape. And of course, saving the best for last, my least favorite feature to date, the endless menu system. All of that aside, the a6400 definitely makes the affordable price of $850 reasonable for what it provides. If you can't afford a newer and improved camera, this one makes for a perfect hybrid camera for beginners. Plus, most people I know that have actually bought this camera still own it to this day. Thankfully, my friend Grayson is actually one of those people, and he graciously lent me this camera to do this review, and he's actually excited to share his thoughts after years of using this camera.
How long have I had this camera? Let me see. This a6400 was the first camera I ever bought. I had played with cameras a little bit, and I think I bought this in 2019 maybe. And I bought it for $700 at the time, used. And I think that's about exactly what it costs now still, which is pretty cool. It's held its value if I wanted to sell it. I do still use this camera today. This is my B cam, so I'm not a cinematographer by any means, but I use video to make money, and I am still a freelance videographer. And my A cam is my Sony a7 III, and I keep this as a B cam, mainly because it has an unlimited recording limit. So I can just put this sucker on a tripod and it will record for hours, and it really doesn't overheat either. So the main limitation is just the SD card, so you can plug it into the wall, stick it on the tripod, and just have it record. And I've recorded with it 4 hours for podcasts and concerts. Well, we used the Sony FX3 today on a shoot, and I thought that was pretty cool. I'd never used the cinema line before, and it has a really good look to it. I really enjoyed it. I would say, like, with any camera, the biggest difference for me with the 6400 is the form factor. Like, I have not found a camera that is this tiny. I mean, it's like, it does not get smaller than this, at least for me. It's kind of like a point and shoot camera, but evolved into something where you can have interchangeable lenses, which is why I like to use it. I absolutely love almost everything about this camera, and I hate that I love this camera because its limitations just forced me to buy the a7 III. It's not a full frame camera. That's a major limitation. I don't know its dynamic range, but it was a noticeable difference when I upgraded my camera, just in like the quality, the depth, the ability to shoot at like later times of the day where it got darker. If you take away some of the technical limitations that you just kind of run into when you end up doing more professional things with your career, then this camera, everything else I love about it. I just love how small it is. I love the way it freaking sounds. It's like a freaking silenced freaking pistol in Call of Duty or something. Yeah, I love the look that it gives. For some reason, and maybe this is a dynamic range thing, it gives a really bright look to it. It's really fun to just pick up. It's so light, so portable, and just to use as a point and shoot camera or as a B camera, or just sling it on you and you don't really even notice it's there, and you just take pictures throughout the day. You can take videos, but it does have its limitations. It doesn't have stabilization. That's a huge problem with like trying to use this as a point and shoot camera. So no stabilization plus the rolling shutter makes this like pretty awful for recording video, run and gun. But as a B cam, it's amazing. So I think it really excels as like a fun photography camera where you can just slap lenses on and just really have fun with it as more of a hobby. Having this as my first camera, I don't think I could have asked for any other camera as my first camera. Like, this was a beautiful camera to learn all the fundamentals of photography and videography on. And I didn't know the problems. I didn't know the limitations until I hit them. And then I researched them and I was like, okay, I'm getting better now. I need better equipment. So for the price range, this was just a great camera for me to start out on. Yeah, I mean, I would recommend it. I think my only hesitation with recommending this to a beginner might just be that there's better options. I know that you filmed a video on the R50. I've heard that's an amazing camera. I haven't really used it myself. There might be better options now in this day and age, but for me at the time, it was the best option. And actually, I think it just came out when I bought it. I would recommend it still, with the caveat of if you can't find anything different that I just don't know about, because I'm not that into the new tech at this point. No. Even though it's held its trade in value, I don't think I'd ever get rid of it, simply because it's just such a fun camera to keep around. And if I were to get a better B cam or upgrade my A7 III for a better A cam and make that a B cam, I think I would still want to have this camera as like a travel hobby camera that I could just bring to places. Like, I bring it to Christmas and I like shoot photos on it for Christmas, just because it's like, it's fun to still have a real camera that's not your iPhone sometimes, and you can just shoot and you get the real bokeh, and there's sort of the analog feel. So I love the camera so much, I love shooting on it so much, that I would take the hit of not selling it just to keep it around to shoot on it for fun. If you're looking to purchase this camera, I see you as two types of people. You're either A, just getting into this and you want a beginner camera that's gonna get you into video and photo. I would say especially video. I would get this. B, you're just like a hobbyist and you want something that's a lot of fun to shoot with, I would get this camera. If you're not those two people, I don't know if I could really recommend this camera. If you had higher needs, it's just not going to service that. But if you just want to have some fun and you want to enjoy learning video, learning photo, get this camera. It's so much fun. I love it. And you can stick all your lenses on there, all the Sony lenses. I mean, I bought my whole collection of lenses with this camera. Then I bought an A7 III, and now I have all my amazing lenses for that. So I'd still recommend it. I'd almost say the biggest reason why I outgrew this camera was simply the full frame. Like, I needed a full frame camera. Having a crop sensor was just like way too limiting when I got into client work, but I'll always love this camera. I took this camera everywhere I went. I started my first YouTube channel with this camera. I took it across the world to Australia. I bought a lens for it while I was there because I broke one skateboarding while I was riding down a hill with it. It was durable for me in that moment. It might not be the most durable camera, but I don't know. I just think it's a lot of fun. It's a ton of fun to shoot. Just listen to this thing. I mean, you can't beat it. You can outgrow it. that's basically my consensus for the Sony a6400.
Thank you again, Grayson, for everything you've done behind the scenes to help me out, as well as lending me this camera to use and review. I absolutely love when I get to collaborate with my friends on any sort of creative endeavor. This camera brought me back to my beginning days when I was trying to start a parkour YouTube channel. I had initially bought this camera as a vlogging camera because the form factor is so small and it's extremely lightweight, so I could travel with it and not really carry a bag around because I didn't really want to be weighed down when I was jumping around. Nostalgia aside, this camera will actually hold up to the newer cameras, like the a6700. However, you will certainly need to know how to use this camera because you can't just shoot something and hope to pull something out of the footage that you shot because the 8-bit color will certainly limit you there. It's not really a great set it and forget it type camera that we're starting to see a lot more of nowadays. Plus, it still has some weaknesses that were fixed since this is one of the early cameras of the a6000 series. For example, one of the weaknesses comes with the weather seal. There's actually a weak point down here at the base plate where if it gets wet, your camera will then become damaged. There's also the interesting design choice of this flip-up screen. I know it's made for vloggers, however, if you decide to use any sort of external microphone that goes on the top, you won't even be able to see your screen. There were attachments that did come out to solve this issue, however, this camera was very quickly ridiculed for that interesting design flaw. Taking photos with this camera, however, is actually very enjoyable. It's a tank when it comes to photos and has incredible autofocus that rarely misses. I was also pleasantly surprised when shooting with the flat profiles on this camera. I did a test and it seems that not all hope is lost. You can actually use one of the flat profiles within the footage so that you can actually grade it properly. The reason why flat profiles are so beneficial and why it seems like I obsess over this is because flat profiles will allow your camera to capture more information within an image so that then it can be manipulated later on in editing. That extra information combined with the 1 billion colors versus 1 million colors makes a massive difference if you ask me. Anyways, it seems like this camera actually performs well with S-Log2. If you go any flatter to like S-Log3, then your image will begin to break down. This is still really impressive even though it's not really a standard nowadays. I'd really recommend this camera to anyone who wants a very hands-on, almost analog feel to their camera. You'll really have to learn the camera in and out through trial and error in order to actually craft the image that you see in your head. This camera is still really easy to use. The a6400 is honestly one of the better older hybrid cameras and is always a good B camera option. You'll easily fall in love with how small this camera is and how well it performs, and you'll be able to use this camera for as long as you need. It is the perfect casual hybrid beginner camera. If you guys want to check out this camera yourself, I left a link in the description below, as well as links to other affordable camera gear. And if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to tune into more videos just like this one. And if you want more videos just like this one, consider checking out that Patreon. It really helps support the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and maybe even learned something from it, and I will catch you guys in the next one.